Hey, BookTube Sean here, coming to you with my weekend books. I apologize in advance for the lighting. The sun it keeps going in and out of clouds, so it might get dim and light as we go. So just a heads up on that. So really quick, I want to address feedback that I got from a video I posted on Wednesday. If you didn't see it, Wednesday I posted a little channel chat video talking about how I, with my big horror mood, how I didn't feel like I was really reading up to my channel name. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback from you guys on that video, and some long conversations with Rachel at TheShadesofOrange, who's really helped me out quite a bit. And all of your feedback was basically, dude, you're worried about nothing. Read what you want to read. We're here for you. So, with that feedback and conversations that I've had with Rachel, I realize I'm really been thinking about the channel name in the wrong way. I've been worried about having kind of eclectic content. Kind of each time I do a weekend books or a wrap up or something, and I'm just thinking about eclectic reads the wrong way, because really the eclectic is me. I feel like it's no different than if I had called the channel Sean Reads. I'm an eclectic in just about anything, any media that I'm involved in. I read you guys know I read a bunch of different types of books. I listen to, music-wise, I listen to everything from Frank Sinatra and Billie Holiday to death metal, and everything in between, Broadway, vocal stuff, jazz. The only thing I don't really listen to that much is R&B and rap, and I do even listen to a little bit of that, especially if I'm going back to my 90s days and being nostalgic. I listened to a lot of that in the 90s. So and TV and movies. I'm into freaking everything. So I'm really the eclectic, and I read. So that is kind of how I'm approaching things now, as the channel is still Eclectic Reads, and I'm the eclectic. You're probably going to see, as you know, yeah, I mean, it's been this way anyway. Mostly what I read is fantasy and horror. That's kind of my niche. It is fantasy and horror and some sci-fi, and there'll be some sci-fi, there'll be some literary fiction mixed in, historical fiction, nonfiction. I still read all that stuff, but I primarily read, and what I enjoy the most is fantasy and horror. So that will be probably 60 to 70% of the content on the channel is fantasy and horror. And 30 to 40% will be everything else, as I'm in the mood for it. And I'm going to stop worrying about making sure I have a variety of different kinds of books to talk about each week, or if I were to switch to a month, each month. That's just too much pressure on myself, and I collapse, and I don't get anything read. So I'm a mood reader, and I'm gonna read to my mood, and there will be the eclectic content in it, because that's who I am. But it's going to be primarily my niche, which is fantasy and horror. So that being said, I thank everybody who commented on that video. I really appreciated the feedback and the kind words from everybody. That really made me see that, the way I'm thinking about it now is really the right way, and that I was creating a problem in my head where a problem didn't exist. So I just needed to change the way I was thinking about it so that I could take the pressure off of myself. Because you guys weren't giving me any pressure. I was creating it all myself. So thank you everyone for your feedback on that, and I really appreciate it. And you guys are the best. I have the best subscribers. So that being said, let's get into my weekend books without any further ado. So, how do I start these? What I have read this week. Again, I apologize. I just got back from the grocery store and said, "Oh, I got some time. I'm gonna do some filming instead of reading like I should be doing." Since I started a readathon today and a buddy read today, that's not in the readathon. Because the buddy read was set up first, and then I just couldn't resist that one readathon to rule them all, and I read a ton of books at the same time anyway, so it's not even going to be an issue. But why are you logging me out? But yeah, so I can't even remember what I finished this. I know I finished a couple of things. But I'm going to do a little bit of bulk recording right now, too. Okay, yeah, that's right. First thing I finished this week was Witching Hour Theater by Jonathan Janz. This is an early novella of his that got re-released. I don't know exactly when. I know it's fairly recently, but like within the last year or two, it got re-released. He has a bunch of older work that is no longer in print because the publisher of those books went out. So he is now working on getting his back catalog republished. And this is one of his back catalog. It's a novella about, and I did a little review of it on Goodreads because I'm horrible about writing up Goodreads reviews. And if you follow my Twitter, you saw that I said I was going to go back and write some long overdue reviews, and I got one done, and it was this one, which I had just read. But this is a story about a man who goes every week to this theater who does a triple feature horror overnight. It's like an all-night movie festival every week of horror movies. It's a triple feature, and it's called Witching Hour Theater, and he goes every week. It's like it's almost like his reason for living each week. And he is also highly attracted to the concessions girl. He's got a crush on the concessions girl, and they have. He has a little rapport with her, but he's afraid to ask her out. So the way that it works is there's a big name. I think I'm trying to remember. There's a big name feature, a lesser known feature, and then like the last film is like a cult classic, really bad cult classic horror movie. Not even cult classic, just a really bad B horror movie. And by the end of the night, there's always a lot of people there for the first feature, and then they whittle down to the hardcores for the final feature. And this particular night, turns into him living his own horror movie. And that's as much as I'll really say about it because it's a novella. It's short. I don't want to. I loved it. I thought it was great. I really connected to the main character. I really saw a lot of myself in that main character. And I thought it was just a really fun novella. And it really highlighted Jonathan Janz's knowledge of horror movies. Like, you can tell that he loves this genre. He loves horror movies, and he knows a lot about them, and it shows in this book. This book is almost as much a love affair of horror movies as it is a horror novel. And I thought it was just great. I really enjoyed it, and this is my first Jonathan Janz, and I'm really looking forward to getting into some more Jonathan Janz. And the second thing I read was the graphic novel, first volume of the Outcast graphic novel by Robert Kirkman, who is of Walking Dead fame, wrote the Walking Dead series and is involved in the television show as well. And the illustrator, the artist, is Paul Azaceta. And I heard about this on the Books in the Freezer podcast, the most recent episode of the Books in the Freezer podcast, which, again, if you're not listening to and you like horror books, what are you doing? Go listen to the Books in the Freezer podcast. And this, so far, I've only read the first volume. I have the second volume checked out on Hoopla. I actually have the next 3 volumes checked out on Hoopla, or 4. I think I have the first 5 volumes checked out on Hoopla right now, because I really enjoyed the first volume, and I just used up the rest of my month of Hoopla and checked out the rest of them. But so far, this is about a man who has dealt with possession in his past, with his mother and with his wife, and he still doesn't believe it was possession, and he apparently, this local reverend, seems to think that the boy, or who's a man now, has some sort of power to be able to help cast out demons. And that's really kind of what the first volume is about, is the backstory of the boy, and coming to grips with his ability. And I really enjoyed it. It was really good. The artwork was great. And I'm really excited to get into the rest of the volumes of this. So that's what I've gotten read this week. What I have coming up, I have a buddy read starting today with Stephanie at That's What She Read, for In the Valley of the Sun by Andy Davison. This is the last book I need to read for... the last book I need to read that was a first novel nominee this year at the Stokers. And I'm actually about 39 to 40% into the book already. We both are. She had started reading it before I picked it up, and she had gotten sidetracked by other things. And when I contacted her and said, "Hey, did you ever finish this book?" She said, "No. You want a buddy read it?" So I caught up to where she was at during the week last week, and then I was out of town Friday night and Saturday. My wife and I went to Chicago to see a concert, Camelot, Delane, and Battle Beast in Chicago. And then yesterday we were driving back yesterday or Saturday. I'm not sure if this is going up to today or Monday. On our way back, we stopped by the west side of Michigan to some of our favorite wineries and stocked up on wine. So I didn't get much reading done Friday or Saturday. So we're picking up from where I caught up to her at today. So I got that going on, and if you haven't seen it, I posted a TBR, and I'll link it below, of my TBR for the One Readathon. The One Readathon to rule them all. The hashtag is the One Readathon, and the Twitter is at the One Readathon. And it's a 2-week readathon to read fantasy. And if you're interested in what I'm reading for that, you can check out my TBR for that. I'm going to record today a May MBR, a Might Be Read video, or a TBR/MBR. Because I got a lot of things I'd like to try and get to. I'm just going to share them all in one video, and then in my weekend books, we'll see what I do get to. Now, this may be the last weekend books for 2 weeks. I'm at a convention next week. Not during the week. On the weekend, next weekend, Friday to Sunday, I'm going to Penguicon, which is here. I mean, I don't have to go and stay at a hotel or anything for it. It's nearby. It's like a 20-minute drive from my house. But it's just a big, super geek con. It started as kind of an open source Linux con, and it's evolved into like all manners of geekdom. And there's a lot of panels that I'm interested in this year. I kind of wait to decide till the schedule comes out. Like I went 2 years ago, I didn't go last year, and this year there was enough panels that I wanted to attend to make it worth the cost of going to it. So, but it happens once a year. It happens here in Michigan, and people come from all over the country to go to it. Some of you may have even heard of it, but and if some of you have heard of it and you go to it, let me know. Let me know. I'd love to meet up with you. But anyway, so that's my weekend. And I kind of lost the plot of where I was going with this. But anyway, I was talking about making a MBR video. So I think I'm going to do, I want to do a video of things I'd like to get to this month. So that'll probably go up somewhere midweek. I'm going to record it today. So, and then, like I said, in my weekend books, we'll see what I get to that I'm thinking about. But anyway, I have picked up a couple of books this week. I picked up Discount Armageddon by Shauna McGuire. This is the first book of the Encrypted series, and if you remember back to my January book haul, I got Chaos Choreography, which is about the 4th or 5th book in the series. So I finally picked up the first book so that I can start the series. And this one I'm really excited about. I've been wanting this book for a while. My Best Friend's Exorcism. Just have heard nothing but good things about this book. And look at this cover. The paperback cover is like an old 80s VHS tape. The chapter titles are all 80s songs. This is going to be as much a love letter to the 80s as it is an exorcism story. So I'm really, really excited about this. This is going to be on my May MBR. I guarantee that. But that's it. That is my weekend books. And thank you to all my subscribers. Again, thank you to everybody who commented on my channel chat video. And I'm excited for the future of this channel. I really want to see where this path takes me and watch the channel grow and see how the channel grows. And all of you who go with me on the journey, thank you so much. And if this is your first video viewing, I'm sorry you had to sit through through some stuff you didn't quite know about at the beginning of the video. But I hope you stick around, hit the subscribe button to know when I post new videos, and I will see you all in my next video.